The laugh came before the rain, sharp and careless, cutting through the gray morning like a blade, and it landed on a tired man wiping his hands on a rag beside an old Mustang that had seen better decades. In that moment, when humiliation burned hotter than the rust on the car's fender, something quiet but unstoppable began to turn, like an engine cranking for the first time after years of silence. Before we go any further, take a second to pause with this moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of quiet perseverance, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect hearts across the world. Ethan Cole had learned how to keep his head down. Life had trained him that way. He was a single father, a janitor in a glass and steel tech empire that rose above the city like a monument to other people's success. Every night, long after executives went home, Ethan pushed his cart through empty hallways, mopping floors that reflected lives he felt he'd never live. His hands were rough, permanently marked by grease and cleaning chemicals, and his back ached in a way that never fully went away. But every morning, before dropping his daughter Lily off at school, he spent a few minutes in the parking lot with his Mustang, a faded 1967 fastback that looked like a forgotten relic among the polished luxury cars. To others it was junk. To Ethan, it was memory, purpose, and survival welded into steel. The Mustang had belonged to his father, a mechanic with a mind that saw patterns in pistons and poetry in combustion. As a boy, Ethan had learned engines the way other kids learned fairy tales. He learned how air, fuel, and spark could create motion, how small changes could lead to massive differences in performance. When his father died suddenly, the car became the last classroom they shared. Years later, after Ethan's wife passed away and the world collapsed into hospital bills and sleepless nights, that same car became his refuge. He rebuilt it piece by piece after Lily went to bed, scribbling designs in notebooks no one ever saw, ideas for an engine that could change efficiency forever. Dreams, however, do not pay rent, and so Ethan cleaned floors and swallowed his pride. The morning it happened, the CEO of the company, Marcus Hale, was visiting the building. Marcus was everything Ethan was not. Confident, impeccably dressed, surrounded by assistants who nodded at everything he said. As Marcus crossed the parking lot, his eyes landed on the Mustang. The laugh that followed was loud enough for others to hear, and the words that came with it reduced years of love and work into something disposable. People nearby joined in, not out of cruelty but out of reflex, the instinct to align with power. Ethan felt the heat rise in his face, but he said nothing. He had learned silence too well. What no one saw was what lived under that hood. Beneath the rust and mismatched paint was an experimental engine, designed in fragments over years of stolen hours. Ethan had been chasing a concept his father once mentioned late at night, an engine that minimized energy loss through a revolutionary combustion cycle. Ethan refined it, tested it quietly, and protected it fiercely. He had no money for patents, no connections, and no voice in rooms where innovation was discussed. All he had was belief and persistence. The turning point did not come with applause. It came with crisis. Weeks later, the tech company announced a massive initiative into sustainable energy transportation, investing billions but struggling with inefficiency. Ethan listened from behind a cleaning cart as engineers debated problems he had already solved on paper. That night, after Lily fell asleep, he stared at his notebooks and felt fear wrestle with responsibility. If he stayed silent, nothing would change. If he spoke, he risked everything. Ethan submitted a proposal through an internal innovation portal that few janitors even knew existed. It was rejected within hours, flagged as unrealistic. But the data was too compelling to ignore entirely, and a junior engineer forwarded it up the chain. Curiosity cracked open a door arrogance had slammed shut. Marcus Hale reluctantly agreed to see the engine, more to confirm his disbelief than anything else. When the Mustang rolled into the testing bay, laughter echoed again, but it died quickly when the engine ran. Numbers replaced assumptions. Efficiency shattered benchmarks. Emissions dropped beyond projections. The room shifted, the way air shifts before a storm breaks. Marcus watched in silence as the impossible became measurable. The janitor was no longer invisible. What followed was not instant glory. There were legal battles, months of testing, nights where Ethan still mopped floors because contracts take time and trust is slow. But eventually, the company announced a new engine division, seeded with $2 billion in funding, built around Ethan's design. He became its head, not because of charity, but because genius does not care where it sleeps at night. Ethan did not buy a mansion. He fixed the roof of his small house. He took Lily on a road trip in the Mustang, now restored but still imperfect, and taught her how engines breathe. He funded scholarships for workers whose ideas never made it past closed doors. And Marcus Hale, standing beside him at the launch event, learned a lesson no balance sheet could teach, that greatness often parks in overlooked spaces. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness matters and that potential often hides behind worn surfaces, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement helps stories like this reach someone who might be standing in their own quiet parking lot right now. Before the ending, please comment one word that represents what this story made you feel, and read what others write too, because sometimes we heal by realizing we are not alone. The Mustang still starts every morning, its engine humming not just with power, but with proof that no laugh can stop an idea whose time has come, and no label can define a soul built on love, loss, and relentless hope.